In this episode, we will analyze whether the cause of Roki Sasaki's slump is that his pitching habits are being read by opposing teams, whether it is a psychological issue, or if there is another problem altogether. Furthermore, we will explain the reasons why Shohei Ohtani's batting is set to improve even further in the future. This is a topic about Roki Sasaki. Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Roki Sasaki made a starting appearance in a home game against the San Diego Padres on July 3, Japan time, but it turned out to be a performance that left some challenges, as he pitched 3 innings and allowed 6 runs. Up until now, starting with the game against the Los Angeles Angels in Anaheim, he had a string of fantastic outings against the Milwaukee Brewers, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Angels once again. However, after that, he had poor results in 4 consecutive games, against the Chicago White Sox, the Baltimore Orioles, and both of the 2 games against the Padres. While there are technical issues on Roki Sasaki's part, our program believes that this is largely the result of accumulated fatigue. Some media outlets have seized this opportunity to start criticizing Roki Sasaki all over again. Since this is their usual routine, let us just leave them alone. We cannot afford to concern ourselves with people who get easily happy or sad by looking only at the immediate results right in front of them. Regarding Roki Sasaki's pitching, manager Dave Roberts commented after the game as follows. The opposing lineup responded to every single pitch. There might have been a habit showing, and we need to examine that moving forward. However, I don't want him to lose his confidence. He was fantastic in May. I want him to fight on the mound again and throw good pitches. Manager Dave Roberts has clearly stated that he will have Roki Sasaki start next week as well. We interpret this not just as the manager's personal view, but as the organization's stance regarding Roki Sasaki. In addition, Dalton Rushing, who formed the battery with Roki Sasaki, commented after the game as follows. For my part, I just want Roki to compete in the strike zone and make the absolute most of the pitches he possesses. From Dalton Rushing's perspective, it feels as though he is pointing out a lack of a strong fighting spirit, despite possessing the ability to throw wonderful pitches. What is desired from Roki Sasaki is a powerful attitude that says, go ahead and hit my pitches if you can. Various reasons are being mentioned for the decline in Roki Sasaki's stats, but as stated earlier, our program senses that fatigue has accumulated and he has not been able to manage his conditioning well. After 4 consecutive games of good pitching, 4 consecutive games of poor results followed. This does not mean he lacks talent as a pitcher. When considering his situation since the opening of the season, we believe that the accumulation of fatigue is the reason for his recent poor pitching performances. From the start of the season, he had a hard time throwing strikes, failed to get good results, and spent his days receiving a lot of criticism from the media. Since the game against the Angels in Anaheim, Sasaki became able to command his pitches, and he showcased wonderful pitching for the 4 games following that. We feel that fatigue has started to set in after he displayed those wonderful performances. In the subsequent 4 games against the White Sox, the Orioles, and the 2 games against the Padres, he was clearly not the Sasaki from his good days. Instead, one could sense a lack of energy that reminds us of Roki Sasaki's condition immediately after the season opening. Rather than a lack of confidence on his part, we felt that a situation has arisen where he can no longer suppress hitters with the pitches that used to work before. His fastball, split-finger fastball, and slider were all caught by the Padres lineup, and it felt like he ran out of pitches to throw. The velocity is there, but he is getting hit. Manager Dave Roberts senses that his habits might have been given away. Dalton Rushing wishes for him to have a strong fighting spirit. This program analyzes that the cause of his worsening results is that Roki is out of gas. Fatigue has accumulated, and his inability to refresh himself properly is the reason. Unlike Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki has no experience pitching through an entire season, and there are areas where he does not yet understand the pacing required as a starting pitcher. That aspect may have been exposed this time around. This is something he has no choice but to learn by gaining ground on the field and accumulating experience. Roki Sasaki is required to acquire the pitching techniques to manage his conditioning and suppress opposing lineups to contribute to the team, even on days when his form or condition is poor, just like Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto do. Also, regarding his repertoire, while he is said to have 4 pitch types: the fastball, the split-finger fastball, the forkball, and the slider, from a hitter's perspective, they can be divided into 2 categories. They can be classified into 2 types, fastballs and dropping pitches. When facing Roki Sasaki, it becomes easy to narrow down the target pitch. If a hitter narrows their target to the fastball, they can simply hold back on swinging at any pitch other than the fastball. They just need to take a full swing only when the fastball comes. Also, when targeting breaking balls, the slider, the split-finger fastball, and the forkball all possess a downward breaking motion. If hitters maintain an image of a dropping ball, refrain from swinging at the fastball, and swing while predicting the trajectory of the dropping ball for any pitch other than the fastball, it will become easy to make solid contact. The team that took these 2 measures and solved Sasaki was the Padres. This likely led to the results where Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a double and Manny Machado hit a 2-run home run by catching Sasaki's fastball, while Jackson Merrill hit a solo home run and Jake Cronenworth hit a 3-run home run by catching Sasaki's breaking balls. Roki Sasaki has accumulated fatigue, and while his pitch velocity is up, it feels as though his pitches lack power. Under these circumstances, if the opposing team narrows down their target against the pitches he throws, Roki Sasaki, who has a limited repertoire, cannot compete. That is precisely why this program constantly proposes that Roki Sasaki should increase his pitch types. Those are the cutter and the sinker. By adding movement right at the hitter's hands, he can be expected to induce weak contact from hitters targeting the fastball. The problem for Roki Sasaki right now is that he lacks such pitches to deceive hitters. He only has the fastball and breaking balls that drop. We believe lateral movement is needed. However, to throw pitch types with a large break, such as a curveball or a sweeper, it is necessary to twist the wrist when throwing. If he uses such throwing styles frequently, it will slow down Roki Sasaki's fastball velocity and cause a hindrance. We believe it is an urgent task for Roki Sasaki to master pitch types that move while using a straight, fastball-like throwing motion without twisting his wrist. Those are the cutter and the sinker. Without worrying about the amount of the break, by mastering pitches that can freely move left and right at the hitter's hands, his patterns for attacking hitters will increase, which will be advantageous for Sasaki. We believe it is not an easy thing to do, but in order to become a winning pitcher, mastering the cutter and the sinker is essential for Roki Sasaki. Although Roki Sasaki has grown compared to right after the opening of the season, he still has many challenges. Clearing those challenges one by one is his current mission. In his next start, we expect him to display a powerful performance after thoroughly analyzing the causes behind being hit hard over these past 4 games. This is a topic about Shohei Ohtani. Recently, although Shohei Ohtani has been getting hits, drawing walks, and occasionally hitting home runs as a batter, it is still not enough. We believe his true potential as a batter will be displayed from now on. Moving forward, we believe the Dodgers will increasingly play Shohei Ohtani in a 2-way role, letting him appear as both a pitcher and a hitter. The 2-way role is his lifeline, and Shohei Ohtani maintains his balance as a player by playing both pitching and hitting roles. If he makes a mistake as a pitcher, he contributes to the team as a batter. If he cannot produce results as a batter, he contributes to the team as a pitcher. This is the balance of Shohei Ohtani's 2-way role, and it is Shohei Ohtani's 2-way style. We believe the Dodgers have also come to realize this fact. This year, he was performing well enough to aim for the Cy Young Award as a pitcher, but recently his runs allowed have increased, and the path to winning the title is closing slightly. However, when his performance as a pitcher declines, his stats as a batter tend to grow. That is who Shohei Ohtani is. He had been maintaining outstanding stats as a pitcher since the opening of the season, but recently his performance as a pitcher has been declining. While he was excelling as a pitcher, he had fallen into a long-term batting slump as a hitter. Now it is the opposite, a period where his stats as a pitcher are not favorable, and in that case, Ohtani's bat is bound to catch fire. Therefore, what this program always talks about is that Shohei Ohtani is going to hit like crazy from now on. Regardless of whether he appears in games solely as a batter or in games as a two-way player pitching and hitting, we predict that Shohei Ohtani as a batter will soar in the future. This season, he fell into a long-term batting slump for the first time in his career. Precisely because he experienced that long-term batting slump, we feel that Shohei Ohtani will shine as a batter more than ever before. When he is pushed into a difficult situation, he possesses a genius talent for turning that hardship into further evolution. That is exactly why he is called a unicorn. The hardships he felt during this long-term batting slump will serve as the catalyst to evolve his batting more than ever before. He has not yet completely regained his brilliance as a batter. He will be even more active as a batter. He will display batting performances that surprise us even further. The experience from his long-term batting slump will blossom as talent in his batting power moving forward. We have higher expectations than ever before for Shohei Ohtani's batting in the future. Although there are concerns about his left knee, he will take good care of it and gradually restore his physical condition. He is an existence who always thinks about baseball, loves baseball, and is smiled upon by the god of baseball. While his future pitching is also something to watch, what we want you to pay particular attention to is his batting. Shohei Ohtani fans all over the world must watch his at-bats without blinking. By doing so, it will lead to witnessing the very moment history is born. That is all for today. Thank you very much.